The world-famous Caesar's Palace at Las Vegas in the state of Nevada, scene of the last and crucial Grand Prix of 1981. Crucial because any one of 3 of the 24 men who are going to start in this 75-lap race could end this afternoon as 1981's Grand Prix world champion. They are Carlos Reutemann, the Argentine driver, Nelson Piquet from Brazil, and Jacques Laffite, the Frenchman. And Reutemann is leading with 49 points, driving in his Williams car, and there he is in pole position on the grid. Alongside him is the reigning world champion, number 1, Alan Jones, who is to drive today in his last Grand Prix before he retires. Villeneuve and Piquet. Piquet 4th fastest in practice, and Jacques Laffite, the 3rd man in contention for the world championship, has been only 12th fastest in practice, and that puts him way down on row 6. And Villeneuve comes straight through from the 2nd row, and Prost to the left, but into the first turn, up to turn 1. The left-hander, it's Jones leading Villeneuve with Reutemann and Prost right up there. So it's Jones, Villeneuve 2nd. Reutemann is still alongside Prost, battling for 3rd position, and the rest of them surging over the crest and towards us on the first lap. And look already at the lead that Alan Jones, the 1980 world champion who has only won 1 race this year, has pulled out over Gilles Villeneuve in the Turbo Ferrari, and it's Prost in 3rd position. It's Bruno Giacomelli in 4th position in the Alfa Romeo. Reutemann is 5th. Watson is in 6th position, and Nelson Piquet is not in a point-scoring position at the moment. This then is lap 2. And I can tell you now that Nelson Piquet started this race in real pain. Nelson Piquet went away to have his neck massaged, and it seems to have done more harm than good because he's in real pain as he starts the early stages of the race, and of course it's going to get worse and worse. And there is Prost going through. Look across the wall, and Alain Prost is up into 2nd place. And that is, my goodness, that is Patrick Tambay, and I have never seen a crash like that. The whole of the front of the car ripped off, and Tambay has either hurt his ankle or his leg, as you can well see. There is Nelson Piquet chasing Carlos Reutemann. And here comes the battle for 3rd. Villeneuve, Giacomelli, Laffite, Watson in 6th position, 7th place man Reutemann. And it is significant, I say again, that both Reutemann and Piquet, totally unexpectedly, are out of the World Championship points at the moment. Now there is Jacques Laffite. He is 3rd in the championship, and he's ahead in the race of both Piquet and Reutemann. And Jacques Laffite is starting to close up. I can see this from my box on Bruno Giacomelli, who is in 4th position. As long as Reutemann, who is currently 7th, can keep ahead of Piquet, irrespective of where they are. He's not going to. There's Piquet. He's right up alongside him. Piquet is ahead of Reutemann. Now we're getting the changes, because as Laffite goes through, there's Watson 6th. Piquet is up into 7th place. Reutemann is displaced to 8th. You could have seen the moment when Piquet became world champion, when he passed Carlos Reutemann. Piquet has got to score at least 1 point to win the World Championship, which he would do even if he tied with Reutemann. And in order to win that 1 point, he's got to move up at least 1 more place. There's Laffite out of Giacomelli's slipstream to try and take 4th position away from him, and Piquet closes right up on both Laffite and Giacomelli, pulling away from Mario Andretti, and it looks to me as though Mario Andretti was taking Watson, and that is Villeneuve. Gilles Villeneuve off. But here's another even more sensational statement. Villeneuve was apparently excluded for not having his car correctly placed in the starting box on the grid.
It's Laffite in third position. Mario Andretti is up ahead of Giacomelli, and Giacomelli is, there they go. Laffite is third, Mario Andretti and Giacomelli are fighting for fourth place, and there they are. And right behind them in sixth position is number 5, Nelson Piquet, in the World Championship point situation and challenging Andretti, who is now down to fifth place. It's Giacomelli who's gone out. And John Watson is therefore back up into the points with Carlos Reutemann right behind him in seventh place. So very soon, the Argentinian Carlos Reutemann, like Nelson Piquet and Jacques Laffite, will be in a World Championship point-scoring situation if he can get one more place.
Reutemann still out of the points, and John Watson goes into the pits. Nigel Mansell behind him. Here he is coming into the pit lane, and now let's watch and see what happens. And De Cesaris is out of the race, and that is Andretti. My goodness, this race has suddenly come alive. Mario Andretti out of the race when he had got up to fourth position, as a very gloomy Andretti, who also may be in his last Grand Prix, because there are very strong rumours that the popular American Italian is going to confine himself to racing in the USAC single-seater races in America next year. Let's hope that's not true. And that is Alain Prost. We missed him, and Alain Prost, the Frenchman, who was in second place, has been into the pits to have a tyre change. And now it's this man, Alan Jones, leading Jacques Laffite. If Jacques Laffite can catch and pass Alan Jones, he could win the championship, because Piquet and Reutemann are still behind him. And Bruno Giacomelli is storming up through the field, and so is Alain Prost. He's now closing up on Carlos Reutemann, who is in fifth position. He's come into the pits, he's changed his tyres, and he surges past Carlos Reutemann, well out of the World Championship running at the moment, storming away from him, pulling away tremendously fast, Alain Prost. And that's Prost and Mansell, lap 39 out of 75, and Alain Prost, incredible, straight past Nigel Mansell. So at the moment, Nelson Piquet is leading the World Championship quite easily, provided he can stay at least where he is, and that is third position. But he's not going to stay there. That's Prost. Prost is right up alongside Piquet. Piquet looks over his shoulder, and Prost goes straight through and past Piquet. Prost has come up from 8th position to 7th, past Reutemann, then up into 5th position, past Mansell up into 4th position, and now past Nelson Piquet into 3rd place. A quite incredible piece of driving. And by the way, as our cameraman goes berserk, there is possibly the reason he went berserk, because that is our first view of Alain Prost ahead of Jacques Laffite, and back into the 2nd position that he lost when he went into the pits to change his rubber boots. And that is an epoch-making event, because it is Alan Jones, the world champion, on lap 50 out of 75, lapping his teammate Carlos Reutemann, who at the beginning of this race looked as though he was going to be world champion. And Piquet and Laffite absolutely together. Piquet through then, so Piquet has done it, now he's done it. Nelson Piquet up into 3rd position, and that confirms my belief that Jacques Laffite is in trouble, because Piquet passed him so quickly. Jack's going to have to come into the pits, no doubt about it, because it looks to me as though he's going to lose 4th position very shortly, and through into 4th position goes Nigel Mansell. It's happened. Jacques Laffite into the pits in 5th position. I think he's left it too late. He's going to go much, much quicker now than he did before, but Jacques Laffite left the pits in 8th place. Giacomelli up to 3rd position, Mansell up to 4th place, Piquet down to 5th, Watson still in 6th, but a lap behind. But if Piquet finishes this race where he is, although he's got John Watson close behind him and Jacques Laffite is up into 7th place, it's going to be a very close thing for 5th, 6th and 7th places. But if Piquet finishes 5th, he will be world champion. It's a long, long last lap as Alan Jones's head shakes again, and we wait to see him come through at the end of that 75th lap, and it's going to be a very, very welcome checkered flag that Alan Jones sees, and he sees it, and Alan Jones has won the Caesars Palace Grand Prix. He has broken that record. He is world champion, completing in the lead and winning his last Grand Prix. But there is the man who is, if he just finishes this lap, the world champion designate of 1981. There in the background is Nelson Piquet, and the flags of Brazil wave. And there's an enormous contingent of Brazilian spectators here. And I can tell you, because I can see them out of my box window, that they are going absolutely berserk with South American excitement. There is Jacques Laffite. He just failed to catch Nelson Piquet. But Piquet, the Brazilian, the flags of Brazil wave for Nelson Piquet. And Nelson Piquet has almost passed out in the car, but on the rostrum he's revived as Alain Prost sprays the champagne. A worthy winner in Alan Jones on his last Grand Prix, and a very worthy new world champion in Nelson Piquet. And now we look forward to the new season in 1982.